Is it on? Hi everybody, we miss you here, and Matthew's watching. Hello Matthew, thanks for joining me. I hope you can hear me. I got complaints the other day that the forge was too loud, so hopefully, and I also mumble a bit, so hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, Kian's doing some work in the background there. So Kian, Buck says how's it? Come say hello to Buck. Quentin is also watching. Hello, Quentin. Face in the picture, Paul. So how's it, Steve? My African in America and South Africa's only Forged in Fire contestant so far. Well done, Steve. We're all proud of you, buddy. So let's go. What I said is I'm going to show you. Yeah, it's a lovely day, sunny, but I'm missing the rain. The rain was good. Is to show you how to forge a Criollo. Now, I love the knives that are a bit more challenging at times, and Criollo is definitely one of them. It's just not a straightforward beveling and point, that all comes into it. But Criollo is an Argentinian cowboy knife, for those of you who don't know. It's carried by the gauchos of Argentina, and it's probably the South American Bowie knife. It's almost always or traditionally made from round bar, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using a bit of 10mm round bar, 5160, to show you how to Criollo. A lot of them nowadays are forged from flat bar and they have bolsters on, but I'm a bit of a traditionalist, so we're going with a traditional version. How's it, Johan? What we're going to be forging from, 10mm round bar, 5160, and we're going to forge out a blade from the one side, and the tang we can talk about. I'm not going to be able to get that all done. You can see it's quite a big chunk of metal. How's it, Mark? How are you, Matt? So that's what we're going to be doing. So on your picture, that's what the knife looks like. No, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's me with the knife. So, a Criollo, the Argentinian or gaucho cowboy knife, is characterized by this part here, the choil area. That's kind of the most challenging part, Steve. So, getting that bit out and straight out from the body of the steel is the biggest part of the challenge. I'm by no means an expert, and I've watched a lot of the Argentinian professionals forging them, and I can honestly say I haven't perfected it yet. But that's key towards making a good Criollo, is getting your choil area coming out at right angles, almost to where your integral bolster is. So your bolster is integral, this is round here, and it's often characterized by filing in there and filing all the way around. Your tang is hidden and it's slightly oval or flat going into your handle, and I finished that off with a slightly flattened circle. So I forged it to about 8mm round, and then I grind the edge flat and I burn it into a 6mm hole in my handle. So it's not like your flat tangs with a normal knife. The Argentinians do it completely round and they burn it in, and the epoxy will hold it, plus with the essential little pin here from rotating in the handle. Of course, you can go very non-traditional and forge it nice and flat, and then you don't have to worry about any of those things happening with it turning in the handle. But with modern epoxies, it shouldn't turn. My brother David's on the line from Japan. I don't know what the time. It must be late. And my best mate Carlos, kind of losing the connection, and it's coming back the whole time, so I hope you guys are still there. So forging a Criollo, biggest challenge, getting it out at the right angles here from the round bar, and it traditionally has a little curve in there. The rest of your blade is normal. Keeping that part round is the challenge, and having your tang forged out. So I'm going to put a piece of steel in the fire, and I'll show you where to start. So I always tell everyone, if you want to be a great bladesmith, you have to be a good blacksmith. So you have to. We're going to take our round bar, and we're going to hammer in some shoulders, because we want to isolate the blade area from the handle area. And I always say isolate. So you want to isolate the material you want to make the blade out of from the material you want to make the handle out of. Once you've isolated your handle material, or your blade material rather, you can then manipulate it far easier. So you've hammered a groove in here, and it's bigger here, because key is to move this metal down. If you don't isolate that material first, you're going to have a long spade. So Albana, how are you? I'm just going to move the phone, because where I'm sitting now, apparently connection is really bad. So I'm going back to where I had it yesterday, which is over here. Okay, so there's a gentleman on the line, Job, who I've only met through Facebook, but I've been introduced to him by my other good friend, and Job is a traditional blacksmith. Job, I love your work. So if ever you're in Bethlehem, in the Free State, look him up and just see how a traditional blacksmith really works. Because okay, so guys, I'm losing a signal a lot, so is it worthwhile carrying on, or shall I try this some other time? Are you all good? I seem to lose signal and have it come back off. So we're going to start with my tang tool. I'm going to get the round bar in there, hammer in the shoulders. David. So David, in Japan, what are you? You're about 9 hours ahead of us, so you must be 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So I'm glad I'm keeping you up. Sorry, Donovan, I don't know what to do about this, but I'm going to try and move this phone a little bit more to the side here, and hopefully we have a better signal from this angle. So what really helps here, round jaws. Okay, you want to be able to hold your hot metal comfortably. So if you have round jaw tongs, it makes your work a hell of a lot easier. So that's what you want. If you haven't, you can just sickle along with flat jaws. What I would do even is just hammer out a bit flat here, so that your box tongs can hold it nicely. Right, so first we're going to isolate the blade part from the handle part. I'm going to go about halfway down the length of this billet. Okay, so you can see how I've hammered in a divot either side. So now I've isolated my blade area from my handle area. This means that I'm going to maintain nice shoulders here from the transition from your integral bolster to the blade. So you hammer it as deep as what you want your blade thick. So a bit oversized. Hello Buzz, you're in the UK still, but nice to speak to you. So it's kind of fantastic that I've got people here from Canada to Japan to UK, and I feel quite flattered that you're tuning in. So I'm going to put this back in the forge, and we're going to start hammering this down flat for our blade tide. But for me, that's pretty key, is isolate the blade from your handle, then you've got the material separate to move. You can start and then do your shoulders once you've got the blade flat in and your point in. But it's really important to get those divots in for your transgression from your bolster to your blade. That just gives you a good step down and your blade begins. If you just hammer your blade in, you're going to have a wedge shape and you're not going to get that choil coming in nicely. So I'm going to start hammering the blade down. Not hot enough yet. So if any of you guys haven't attempted a Criollo, I highly suggest you do. It's really good fun making them. Next step is to take them into a keyhole type format. I see Eric else was online. He's made some beautiful pieces. Go look at his knives on his page. He's done some fantastic keyhole guards, and you basically just need a bigger round bar, or to hammer that more flat rather than round. Yep. Right, so now we're going to flatten the rim part. Important not to put the round part on the anvil, only the part in front of the divots made for the shoulders. So we've lost a bit of the reception again. Guys back. How's it, Trenton? Welcome. Gobus. Please stay online. The signal comes and goes, but I'm sure you're going to get the whole picture at the end of the day. Mr. Maximus, how are you, bud? Welcome. And for those who just joined, I'm showing you how to do a Criollo, which is an Argentinian gaucho knife. It's the Bowie of South America. They come in all shapes and sizes, mainly like the Bowie, a 12 to 14 inch blade. Always made from round bar traditionally. Nowadays they make it from flat bar bolsters. But traditionally made from round bar, and there's some features to it that you have to pay attention to when forging. So keep on flattening it out from the shoulders on towards the front. See how I'm flattening it out just behind the shoulders, and when I have that length determined, I get it flat the whole length of the blade, and then we hammer down the tip as we do a normal forged blade. So we hammer it flat and we hammer down the tip. Quite a big piece of round bar. Obviously, as you go along and you hammer it thinner, the going will get faster. So we've done the shoulders, we're flattening out the front. From now on, it's just making good pre-form in front of the shoulders for your blade. In other words, you want to get it equally thick, even start forging in a bit of a distal taper, and forge the tip down to start establishing your final shape. So I've learned a very neat trick. I'm going to show you how to fast forward in real time. Didn't see that coming. So we have forged it down and forged it flat. If it bulges to the back here past your bolster, you simply put it flat on this side, on the anvil, okay, and you're going to hammer down there to align the back with the back of your bolster. So that's your second step. So you first establish your shoulders, then you forge out a good pre-form in the blade. The next is the trickiest bit, because what we want to do now is to move this material out here so that it's almost at right angles with a divot you made with your tang tool. So a cross peen hammer works very well here, and you have to almost hit it at 45 degrees for the corner. So you pull this material down that way. Yes, your allowance, run to field. You all fall down. Normally that's me. How's it, Hayden? Alright, I hope you're all back and in one piece. There we go. So once again, it's a thick piece of steel. We're waiting for it to heat up again, and it's in my double burner gas forge, but it's still taking some time. So step one, hammer in your shoulders, your divots. Step two, hammer out a pre-form from your divots forward, hammer in the tip, and now we're going to start working at that choil area, cross peen hammer. Okay, so we're nearly there. Just hang in there while we wait for it to get hot. I'm going to sing you a song. No, I'm not, I can't sing. So my son nearly had a heart attack. He says don't sing. If I had a beer, I'd have a beer with you right now, because this is thirsty work. But we should be ready enough now to start bringing that corner piece down. Okay, so this area here, I'm going to focus on bringing down with a cross peen. Sorry, excuse my back. So I bring it down and out. I hit it again on the edge, just to force material back this way again. And that's just to get the material we need coming out at the bottom here. How's it, Greg? How are you? So heat it up, and once more. 14 years I've been doing this, and I still find making this knife particularly challenging. Forging this little tip down, and I've watched the Argentinian guys do it as well. They'll heat it up and they'll actually put it in a vise and hit underneath where the top of the choil is, just to get that little bump in. So they'll work it very slowly and carefully to get the traditional shape in. So I'm quite happy with where that's progressing. So just a few, bring this material down from here, up towards the bottom, do it from the other side. And that's what we're after in terms of transition there. So you can see it's coming out nice. This is in line with where the shoulders are. It's actually going back a bit down past the shoulders, so that's perfect. And what we're going to do now is just work on the end of the rest of the blade and get that shape right. So once more back into the forge, and we're going to work on the rest of the blade in the front, just refine the shape and the bevels. Hello Mr. De Kock, Johnny, how are you? And there's a gentleman after you, and I'm sorry, is it Omar? Welcome, and I hope you enjoy what you see. Sing a good old forging song. There you have it. Magic's magic. So, as you may or may not have guessed, I've got 3 knives in the forge. So I'm not fast tracking it, I'm just going from one to the other in various stages of completion. That's why you didn't see me yesterday. I was doing some prep work for this. But that's where we are, and so we've got a nice transition area there that we can forge out. Grind up the edge nice and even, grind the point in. There's a nice transition from the shoulders to the blade. So to do your tang, we do the reverse of what we've done on the blade. Although I'm going to take this to the grinder and just grind it in at a sharp angle all the way around where I want the shoulders to end, or the bolster, or the shoulders to start for the tang. You're going to cut this off at about 2 to 3 centimeters from the back and forge out your tang as you normally do it. So started with round bar, 20mm. We hammered the shoulders in, okay, and then you hammer it out flat from there upwards. Round bar, shoulders in, flatten the front part. So you isolate your blade area from your handle area and forge it up. So you're going to forge it up flat first, then forge in your tip as you would on a normal knife, forge in a bit of a distal taper, and then you start working on the area at the bottom here where your traditionally your choil is. And when you try and get that basically at right angles to where this transition area is here. So what you're aiming at in that second heat is to get a good preform going. Okay, so get your tip in, get your thickness right, and you work on getting this area down by using a cross peen hammer and hitting on the front, moving your material down, hitting on the front, and then thinning out the edge. From there you start refining the shape, get your edge in properly. Joe, this is a 5160, it's a leaf spring steel that is virgin stock, so I buy a round bar from the leaf spring manufacturers before they start making it into a leaf spring. Problem with old leaf springs is they're old for a reason, and you often find that they have stress fractures in them. And I say that having used tons and tons in my life. So you do have the chance at using an old leaf spring, there are stress fractures, but you very quickly see them once you start hammering. So guys, that's it, forging a Criollo from round bar stock. I'm going to go ahead and finish this blade now. I just want to drop the point a bit because it's almost a spear point shape with the traditional ones. So back in the forge. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, are there any more questions, guys? So you can, obviously the thinner the round bar, the more skills it takes to get this process right. The thicker the round bar, a lot more hammering ahead of you. So I've started basically 3 of these for the sake of this demo. But at the end of the day, it's a lovely knife. Really fun to make, nice to finish. I love doing the file work in the bolster and on the spine on these. So let's have a look at it now. Sole intention with that one, just to drop the points a bit, get the shape right. From here on I normalize. I'm going to forge out the tang, then I can grind the blade, and we are done with that one. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you have any other ways of doing it, or any other ways that I'm missing, please message me. I'm not perfect. I do this, as I said, my way. This is the way I do it, and I know there are probably better ways, but if this has been of any assistance to you, I'm glad. At the very least, it's been a nice chance to chat to you. Tomorrow, I'm going to tackle the dreaded fishtail and look at how to forging in bevels for beginners. So we'll be covering both of those tomorrow at about the same time. So bevels, how not when forging in your tip. Catch me at 3:30 tomorrow, and thanks for joining me.